I definitely think that driving is something that we take for granted.
You forget the dangers of it. Looking off the road for like 5 seconds can get you in a car crash.
We know that driving is very dangerous. Unfortunately, particularly here in Lane County, we have one of the higher fatality rates in the state. Per capita, we're oftentimes the highest. When we're traveling in our vehicles, it only takes a moment for something to go horribly wrong. Early in my career, I felt like I had a number of occasions where I responded to crashes, particularly that involved youth, and unfortunately, I have had to deliver a lot of death notifications to parents. We really wanted an opportunity to establish an educational program to try and prevent all of that.
The Every 15 Minutes program was started 30 years ago because every 15 minutes in the United States, someone lost their life to an alcohol-related crash.
That number is no longer every 15 minutes, it's every 48 minutes, which unfortunately is still a tremendous amount of death in our country because of impaired driving. In addition to impaired driving, now we have an epidemic of distracted driving.
Even like good kids who follow the law and don't drink underage or do drugs or anything, they all have cell phones, or most of them do. And this generation never leaves their phone. They're on it all the time.
Elmira has done some programs, but nothing to this extent. And it always felt a little less serious. It felt like even though that it was a serious topic, that we could walk away with it going, okay, that's not gonna happen to me. I don't drink, I don't drive, so I'm fine.
So day one starts with the Grim Reaper pulling students out of class one at a time every 15 minutes to signify the loss of life every 15 minutes to a drunk driving crash. A chaplain then reads an obituary that the student or parents wrote ahead of time. The students are removed from class and taken to an event room where they put on a black gown, their faces are painted up, and they write on a headstone that will be placed in the school.
It was hard not being able to talk to your friends or smile at them or acknowledge their existence. You're just gone.
These students are considered the living dead for the remainder of the program. They'll return to class, but they won't talk to anybody, and this is to signify the loss of their life to the students and the faculty. After lunch, the students come back to the event room to prepare for the mock car crash. First responders respond to this crash as they would any other crash. So it's one thing to tell somebody, please don't drink and drive, but it's quite another to see a mock crash with your friend in the driver's seat.
I think the impact of it being 2 days instead of just like an assembly was that you couldn't just leave and forget about it.
The Every 15 Minutes program is really in depth because it continues beyond the crash. So the involved students are then taken away to a local camp for an overnight retreat where they really learn in depth about the physical, emotional, and financial things that occur when somebody is in an alcohol or distracted driving crash. To end the night at the retreat, the students engage in a letter writing exercise where they write a letter to their parents as if they had died in an alcohol or distracted driving crash.
The hardest part of the retreat, for sure, was writing the letters for me personally. You have to imagine if you never saw your family again, what would you say to them?
In addition to the students being away from home in the evening, one set of parents receives a mock death notification that is delivered just as any other death notification would be. And it's an extremely emotional experience for those parents. The morning after the retreat, the entire community and the student body comes together for a community assembly. People who have had their lives impacted by drunk or distracted drivers come and speak. The sheriff gives a presentation, and students have an opportunity to read the letters that they wrote to their parents the night before at the retreat.
I think that it had a way bigger impact on the school than what we normally do. Like, dang, these are actual students that we see every day. And even though it may seem harsh, we need to know what's actually going on and not just sugarcoat everything.
Distracted driving and impaired driving is something that goes on in this county that's 100% preventable. One of the reasons why we think the Every 15 Minutes program is so successful is that it really is bringing together a whole community to tackle a tough subject.
The program really does either start a conversation or continue a conversation about something very difficult, which is teen drinking, and something that happens all the time, which is distracted driving.
I think that the Every 15 Minutes program would be very helpful to other schools, and I think that every school should participate in that.
I'm really proud that the Lane County Sheriff's Office is able to bring the Every 15 Minutes program into our local high schools, and I want to see us continue to do it for as long as we can. The reality is, if it saves one person's life or gives one person the courage to speak up to somebody that's about to make a bad decision, then it's been worth it.